1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2. Now why is that so much hotter? Even just being on in general. I don't know why my headphones do that.
Test 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. No, that's fine. from Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome to Game 7 of the 2019-2020 regular season as the Yellow Jacket men's basketball team welcomes Muskingum University for their first conference game of the year, but it's the third OAC contest for the Yellow Jackets. Coverage today presented by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company, and by the Oswald Company. They'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. Happy Saturday afternoon. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Cole McDaniel. This is an interesting matchup. A team in Muskingum that is extremely athletic with probably the best scorer in the Great Lakes region and certainly among the best scorers in the country in Marcus Dempsey. He's going to get his. He always does. The question is, Cole, can the Yellow Jackets slow down the rest of the team enough to come away with a win?
And that's going to be the big question, Brendan, is obviously you mentioned Marcus Dempsey, his ability to score. You know, it's always beneficial for a team to have a guy who can go and get his. He can go and get buckets. And the thing is, you can't really double him because there are other guys who can get theirs as well. You see number 10, Mitch Clark. He'll get his points, as well as Trey Singleton, who also averages over 10 points a game. So it's a matter of how well can you play in the 1v1 game versus Dempsey, because you can't let the other guys be open. Marcus
Dempsey, junior guard out of Tri-Valley High School in Zanesville. Pretty darn impressive. I mean, this guy he's got unbelievable potential. His career high is 57 in a game a couple years ago. Last year, only played 6 games early in the season and missed the rest of the year with an injury. He is truly as electrifying a player as the Yellow Jackets are going to face all year. And it's a tough assignment, so they have to figure out a way to be balanced enough. And frankly, it was a good thing, Cole, that the Yellow Jackets came away with a win against Heidelberg on Wednesday. But the kind of game the team had to play against Heidelberg compared to the kind of game they're going to have to play today, two very different styles.
And I think that's one of the hardest things. Obviously, all conferences have different teams with different styles, but I do think the OAC is one of those things where almost every team has a very different style, and we see it here tonight again. This is a very athletic team. This will probably be more high-scoring game than we saw the game against Heidelberg.
Dempsey's averaging just over 26 a game in the first 4 this year. He only needs 41 points to get to 1,500 for his career. 41 is absolutely not out of the question for Marcus Dempsey. 63rd career game for him, and he is averaging almost 24 points per game as a collegiate athlete. Jackets in white, Muskies in the black and red. Starting lineups coming in just a moment as our head referee Mason Seiler approaches the Yellow Jacket logo. Colombo wins the opening tip, and off we go. Michael Quiring, Matt Dimitrievs, Zach Sabula, Luke Schaefer, Tyler Colombo. Starting 5 for the Yellow Jackets. 3 true guards. Luke Schaefer, who can play the 4, but also shoots the ball well. And Ty Colombo will play in the post. This is Colombo trying to use his size to his advantage, but he couldn't rip it away from Mitch Clark after the miss. So here come the Muskies, led by Marcus Dempsey. They'll pass up top here, MJ Smith. You mentioned Trey Singleton and Mitch Clark. Tyler Bardal is their post player out of Dover High School. And this is Tyler. Actually, beg your pardon, Mitch Clark. And he lost it out of bounds. Tyler standing on the backside of the play, looking up against Luke Schaefer.
That's an outstanding job there by Tyler Colombo as he was able to deny Clark. As we'll see a lot of that as Clark, obviously, he's the heavier guy compared to Colombo. He's going to try to back him down. Colombo's just going to have to stand strong.
Must have gone off of Tyler Colombo. Dempsey glances at the clock, creates his own shot, and misfires. That's last touch by Sabula. How about those Yellow Jackets? 3-3 so far this season, with wins at home over Bethany and Hiram. And they lost 3 consecutive games to 3 pretty good teams, to be fair. Losing by 10 to Westminster, a 12-point loss at Hobart. And then last time out on their home floor, they lost to the Marietta Pioneers 86-76. Cutting through the key, Singleton can't score it. Still scoreless here, opening minute plus.
Well, the big thing for the Yellow Jackets is it's still pretty early in the year. They're still trying to figure out. Last year they had 2 ball-dominant guards, and now they're trying to learn how to play with more spot-up shooters than what they had last season.
Dimitriev's off on the 3. Dempsey on Colombo's a mismatch that favors the Muskies. But good defense from Tyler forces a Dempsey miss. Matt Dimitriev's cuts underneath. Boy, can't score it. Good move. And then Dimitriev's called for the foul. Last time out, the Yellow Jackets played a little bit of a bizarre game. They led Heidelberg 42-29 at halftime. BW hit 16 of 24 shots in the first half on Wednesday night. They shot 67%. And then they shot 25% in the second half. 7 of 28, 2 of 13 threes. So halftime was the worst thing for them last week. MJ Smith called for the double dribble. And now 2 minutes plus into the game, still scoreless.
Yeah, and there will obviously be some games where you'll have that, where you'll have the tale of 2 halves. Obviously, you hope it's not quite that bad, quite that drastic of a difference, but still, even though the Yellow Jackets didn't shoot well, they were able to play well defensively and get the win.
Luke Schaefer had a nice first half as Tyler Colombo draws a foul. Schaefer had a season-high 18 points. He had 16 in the first half, which was a season high. And if he would have stopped there at 15 3 different times in the 5 games prior to Wednesday. So maybe he's starting to round into shape. Dimitriev's cuts and scores it.
And that was a smart take there from Dimitriev's. He also went with the offhand. It was with his right, and he was able to flip it up, back and in. That's a tough finish, and got that one to go.
Much better start for Dimitriev's today. Only played 2 minutes in the first half Wednesday because he picked up 2 fouls right away. Dempsey gets the Muskies on the board. Dimitriev's in general didn't play much on Wednesday, only 8 minutes total. Quiring lets it go from deep, and he hits.
And that's when Michael Quiring is best. Now this season without Jay Battle, he's having to run the point. He's not really as much of a shot creator. He likes to be off of the ball, but situations like that where Colombo can kick it back out is where Quiring will excel.
Driving right at the front of the rim, Trey Singleton, tough shot, got it to go. 5-4 BW, 16:35 on the opening half clock. Little 2-man game, and it worked out nicely. Quiring to Colombo.
And that's just paying him back for the assist he gave him on the last possession.
Absolutely. Tyler Colombo playing in his 88th career game today as Dempsey fades away and hits the heel of the rim. But Dimitriev's, rather than rebounding it, tried to tip it to a teammate, and it cost him 3 points. MJ Smith ties it at 7. Dimitriev's back up top here. Colombo and Quiring work together, man-to-man defense. Muskies hedging screens well, but Quiring to Colombo combination this time not effective.
Yeah, and I think Colombo kind of forgot exactly where he was. He got himself placed right under the rim, so when he caught the ball, he couldn't put it up and in.
Well, Dempsey is a little off here at the beginning of the game. He's just 1 of 4. With that missed 3 ball.
Well, we know Dempsey's not going to stop shooting, though.
Oh, that's a great play, though. Drawing Dempsey away, cutting around, and it turns into a 3 ball. All right. Luke Schaefer with his first. 10-7 Jackets. They used Dempsey's over-aggressiveness against him there. Bardal from just in front of the free throw line made a great move, but then airmailed it.
You know, Luke Schaefer kind of did a similar thing in the last game against Heidelberg, and I guess Muskingum got him back for that ankle breaker in the last game.
Schaefer missed the 3 ball, but Zach Sabula on the rebound. Goes back to Zach in the corner. High arcing 3, didn't fall in. Muskies down 3. Dempsey wide open. Just can't let that guy get going.
Especially with open shots like that. If he gets an open one, he's going to take it. Most often, he'll make it as well.
Somewhere along the way, you just swallow hard and say, look, he's averaging 26 a game for a reason. He's the 8th leading scorer in the country. He's doing that to everybody, but you got to at least get a hand in his face. You can't give him open shots as Luke Schaefer hits the three from the left corner. And so his first half has started nicely with a couple of three-point buckets. Look at Ty Colombo on Dempsey now. This goes back out to Singleton, who wants to cut through the lane, forgot the ball. Jackets by 3. Stays that way. Dmitrievs glazes the front of the rim. He's 1 of 4 to start the game here. BW not shooting it great as a team from behind the three-point line at times this year. But they know they are quite capable. And they'll continue to shoot because they certainly believe in themselves from deep. Frankly, there's not a guy on the roster that can't shoot threes other than maybe Drew Sova. But even the big man will shoot him once in a while as Colombo called for the walk. We finally have a stoppage, and we're going to see 9 new players on the floor. Dempsey stays, but everybody else is coming off. Drew Sova, Jack Listowski, Anthony Mazzio, Jake Snyder, and Shane Zalba, the 5 that just checked in for Baldwin Wallace. And for Muskingum, Carson Carter, a sophomore out of Johnstown. Alex Massinelli, who's had a nice season, a guard out of Cambridge. The post player here is Noah Tomlinson as Dempsey gives it up in the corner. And Micah Keith, senior guard out of Dover. All out on the floor here at the moment. Head coach for the Jackets in his 5th season, as is Muskingum's head coach. Travis Schwab for the Muskies. Tom Heil still leading BW. 2 guys that are proud to lead their respective programs. Jackets lead by 3. Sova turns around on Tomlinson, banging around with him, but put it off the window and missed the rim entirely.
And Sova's a big, strong guy, and that's one place where I've wanted to see his game improve is being able to finish around the rim. He's great defensively and getting boards, but that finishing needs to improve.
Massinelli for 2. Marcus Dempsey in the 4 games that Muskingum's played this year. He's had 3 outstanding offensive efforts and 1 pretty crummy one. Sova missed again. Goodness gracious. Dempsey dropped 30 on Kenyon, 39 at Trine, 31 last time out at Adrian, but only 5 points. Part of a 1 for 13 day shooting the ball against Ohio Wesleyan when the Muskies got whacked by the battling Bishops. Dempsey, count the bucket and the foul.
I believe that was
you know what? That's Massinelli? No, it was Dempsey. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I believe that was Listowski who tried to slide over, and I believe he was set, but, you know, there's that restricted area. If your heels are even on the line, and the officials got that one right as he was in the restricted area.
Thought I was seeing things for a moment. Dempsey walked all the way practically back to the midcourt stripe before he turned around and went to the free throw line. That was a bit odd. Marcus has 8. Muskies have a 2-point lead. Anthony Mazzio, yes sir. Left corner 3-ball good for the freshman sharpshooter for Massillon Jackson High School. Boy, Mazzio's a guy that the Yellow Jacket coaching staff thinks has a very bright future. He's coming off his career high 11 at Heidelberg on Wednesday. Dempsey through the key, raise up for Carter, no. Snyder almost got tackled by Sova, who looks out of funk. Listowski back to Sova. Inside 11 minutes to go, first half. 16-15 Baldwin Wallace. Ten to shoot. Jake Snyder turns around and throws a laser off the rim. Good handles. Quickly locate Dempsey. And it's off the Jackets, out of bounds.
And the freshman guards, Snyder as well as Mazier, they're both very talented offensively. We see their capability. They're just guys who, again, the OAC is physical. It's tough. On the defensive side, they'll want the offseason to get them in the weight room, put some more muscle and strength on them.
Mazier hasn't played a ton of minutes. He's averaging about 20 minutes a game. This loose ball picked up by Tomlinson here. Now it's Massinelli, too easy. But Mazio's shooting percentages have been really good. As Muskingum calls timeout, Mazio from the floor is 59%, and from behind the three-point line, he's 58%. Those are crazy good numbers for the freshman. Timeout on the floor. Muskies by a point here early. Coverage of the Yellow Jackets and Muskies presented to you by Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider for BW Athletics. Call us at 440-891-1900, or you can order online if you'd like at papajohns.com. Well, so far so good. Both of these two teams, after maybe 2 bad minutes at the beginning of the game, have both figured it out a little bit. Jackets have hit 6 shots from the floor, 4 of them from behind the three-point line. Muskies shooting at 41%, 7 of 17. And they are dominating the glass right now, +6 as we just crossed the 10-minute mark. And a foul whistled against the Muskies. It's on Mitch Clark. That's his second, and he is hot as he comes out. Colombo traveled with it. Well, that's not how you draw it up. As much as this is a good game today, it's probably safe to say the premier game in the conference is down in Southern Ohio. Back to that in a moment. Jack Lostowski, coast to coast. 18-17 Jackets.
That's one of the nice things of having athletic guys who play at the 4 as well, is they can play down low on the block but also get out on the break.
This is Micah Keith swirling around, and he lost it on his own accord. Anyways, down in Southern Ohio today, a rematch of the OAC quarterfinals last year. Marietta and John Carroll. It's been a great series over the last few years in league play. Mazio for 3, just a little short. And it's bobbled out of bounds off the Jackets. Halfway through the first half in Van Johnson Arena, Marietta 18, John Carroll 17. It was John Carroll that stunned Marietta in the OAC quarterfinals last year. But that seemed to rally the Pioneers to an Elite 8 run in the D3 National Tournament. Marcus Dempsey got hit on the way to the rack. Capital and Otterbein will play tonight at 7 o'clock, but 2 other games going on at the same time ours is. Heidelberg 15, Wilmington 12. They're about 9 minutes into their contest, and a game that tipped off, I believe, at 2 o'clock this afternoon is much later now. Mount Union 78, Ohio Northern 52, as the Purple Raiders continue to look like they are the cream of the crop this year in the OAC. I realize Marietta's undefeated and Mount Union is 4-2, but that Purple Raider team is really, really good.
Yeah, that they are. Definitely one of the best in the conference, and it'll be interesting to see how the games shake up between them and Marietta as well.
Inside 9 minutes in our first half, tied at 18. Snyder into the corner. There's Mazio trying to create his own shot. Boy, he defended well. Schaefer, though, raises long, and he got fouled. Nope, take that back. The foul occurred underneath the basket on Noah Tomlinson. I was trying to figure out why the official on the baseline whistled the foul if it wasn't on the shooter. So Tomlinson will check out, and he's replaced by Josh Huffman out of Williamstown, West Virginia. Schaefer from the right elbow here. Spinning on his way to the key, and with a left hand, a finger roll for 2.
And that's just a smooth, experienced move, and you can tell that's something Schaefer's worked on in the gym. That was pretty well executed.
So far, so good for Luke Schaefer, who's got 8 now as the Yellow Jackets extend the lead, and Muskingum ties it up just as quickly. Trace Singleton, nice jumper. Schaefer on the lob pass from Mazzio. A little too easy there for head coach Travis Schwab's liking. And it's 22-20. 10 for Schaefer. Remember, he had 16 in the first half Wednesday night. Singleton to the top of the key. There's no doubt, folks, this Muskies team goes as Marcus Dempsey goes. But they are better than just the one-man show. That's for sure. Dempsey slicing his way through. Boy, if that would have dropped. Instead, 2 foul shots coming.
Well, if people want to know why Dempsey's such an effective scorer, there are a couple different things. One of the main things is you pay attention to on his crossovers or just those quick movements. He does it with a purpose. Sometimes you see guys kind of just, step back or go slower. Everything he does is so quick and precise, and then he definitely has the ability to drive. The other thing there is his ability to contort his body and try to hoist something up, even with the contact there. He just has that eye and that knack for knowing where the rim is.
Dempsey's a 74% career free throw shooter, but missed the first there. You're right, his body control in the air, I think, will be one of his most impressive attributes as Dempsey checks out of the game here momentarily. And Alex Massinelli takes his spot. Don't expect Dempsey to be off the floor long. He plays about 35 minutes a night. Mazzio, catch and shoot. Can't score it, though. Here come the Muskies down 22-21. 7:18 left before halftime. Good work on the far side. Singleton back to Bardal. Massinelli on Schaefer. MJ Smith beat Zalba off the dribble. But Colombo sealed off a driving lane. 5 to shoot here. Massinelli off balance, and it didn't drop. Here comes Michael Quiring. Ty Colombo fakes because he'll shoot it from out there, and he got held up. I mentioned earlier, Tyler Colombo's playing in his 88th career game. Well, Michael Quiring's playing in his 87th career game. Those two guys have been on the floor pretty much their entire careers. Carson Carter back in for Muskingum. Quiring in the corner. Got a hit, but not enough for the foul. Stays 22-21. Yellow Jackets pull it away. Quiring against Carter. Protected it well enough. The follow-up, though, from Schaefer didn't go. And Luke committed the foul. Tough break for the Jackets.
That's tough, and that is just one of those where you really have to finish that off. Colombo makes a great play defensively. Quiring gets down the floor, and I know he was challenged at the rim a bit, but that's one where I know Schaefer tried to tip it up and in, but maybe you just bring the board down and then put it up in easily rather than try to tip it.
Let's see here. Shane Zalba checking out. Zach Sabula back in with Mazzio, Quiring, Colombo, and Schaefer. 6:20 remaining in our first half. Yellow Jackets by a point, 22-21. Dempsey drives, stops, kicks. MJ Smith circles to the corner, and it's pulled away. Shot clock expires. Well done by the Jacket defense.
And one thing that we see with teams that aren't as good defensively is they just stay to their man and they just follow them everywhere. And one thing we see with these Tom Heil coached BW teams is they're really good at switching off the ball handler. And you see them communicating, they're switching all the time, and it makes it tougher for the other team.
Reigning OAC tournament champion Yellow Jackets trying to figure it out here in this first half as Marcus Dempsey gets called for the offensive foul.
Well, we know Dempsey likes to drive, and he's not afraid to take it to the rim, but you can't really drop your shoulder down into a guy's chest there, and the officials got him there.
Jackets beat Muskingum twice last year. Zach Sabula misses off the side of the rim. Quick transition. Jump shot from M.J. Smith. Rattles away. Neither team shooting it well. The Yellow Jackets, when they played Muskingum the second time last year without Marsh, they buried the Muskies 100-67. But with Dempsey on the floor early in the year, 74-67. Much tighter game. Boy, neither of these teams are putting on a shooting clinic of any kind here. Jackets are under 35% for the first half. And yet they lead it 22-21. Mazzio, not quite. Jackets have missed their last 6 3-point shots here.
It looks like they're just settling for jumpers and just content to swing it around the three-point line at the moment. It's just not working.
Dempsey. A couple of good crossovers. Finds open Smith. Everybody fighting for the rebound. Massinelli comes away with a tip. And he threw it away. All right. Noah Tomlinson, Micah Keith back on the floor. Drew Silva, Matt Dimitrievs, Luke Schaefer, Michael Quiring, Zach Sabula for BW here. 4:05 left in the first half. Quiring. Boy, that's at least the third missed layup of the half for the Jackets. Might be more than that. Come to think of it, it's probably more like the fifth or sixth. Silva missed a couple. Quiring's missed a couple. Schaefer missed at least one.
It's hard to win games with missed layups. That and free throws, two very important things.
But Dempsey buries a three. And the Muskies have the lead, 24-22. That's 13 for Marcus Dempsey. Dimitrievs off the back of the iron. All of a sudden, the Jackets gone cold here. BW hasn't hit a shot since the 8:29 mark. We're at the 3:05 spot on the timer. It's been 5.5 minutes. Sabula finally 24-24.
And that was just a little pump fake, and he drove, and that's exactly what the Yellow Jackets needed. I'd like to see them drive some more to draw some contact as well. They don't even have a free throw yet in this half.
No, not one. Dempsey hanging around the outside of the arc. Fades away from the right elbow. That's pretty much indefensible. The only thing is he missed it. From the right side, Keith misses, gets his own rebound and scores. Timeout BW. Making it a little too easy on the Muskies right now as the Jackets take a 30-second break. We'll take it with them. 26-24 here in Berea. Welcome back on BWYellowJackets.com, where Baldwin Wallace trails Muskingum 26-24. Nicole, I was reflecting a bit on your comment about the free throws, and you're right. The Yellow Jackets have not taken a single foul shot. That might be a good thing.
That's true.
416 teams that have played D3 basketball this year. The Jackets are 410th in free throw shooting at under 56% per game. They might be better off. I'd have to actually think about that for a minute as Sova dunks one home. Statistically, they might be better off actually just shooting more threes than they are at trying to put free throws in. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but judging by their three-point capability, it might be better to play the odds from behind the line.
Well, and after the last game here at home, I did ask Coach Heil about that, and he kind of chuckled and just said, you know, it's kind of like in golf where you get the yips when you're putting. He said it's a confidence thing. Hopefully the team does turn it around, and I think he's hopeful that they kind of get their confidence back from the free throw line.
Coach Heil, the former OAC Golf Coach of the Year a few years back. I don't think Coach Heil's ever had the yips in putting. 1:20 to go in the first half. Going back the other direction. 26-26 with a minute 14 left before halftime. Jack Listowski checks in for Luke Schaefer here. Sova, Quiring, Listowski, Snyder, and Anthony Mazzio, although now Sabila, I beg your pardon, Shane Zalba will check in for Quiring. So the Jackets going with 5 new faces here. None of these 5 guys started the game. This was their first 5 off the bench, if you will. Give and go underneath. Sova can't get it to drop in, but he's got 2 free throws out of it.
And that one was with contact, and that was a stronger take there from Sova. It's one of those things, though, where we've seen him when he's caught in the post. He's almost seemed to rush it. I like the pump fake there and taking the contact. Just an unlucky roll. It's one of those things, though, with his size and his strength. He just slows it down a little bit around the rim. He should be finishing these easily.
Huffman back in there for Muskie. 1:04 on the clock. 26-26. Sova splits the pair. So the Jackets have a 1-point lead. Drew's about a 58% free throw shooter for his career, so the 1 out of 2 is pretty much on par. So far, Marcus Dempsey has looked good, but he hasn't gone completely bananas. 13 points for him, spins and passes here. Jackets have made things challenging for him on all but 1 shot so far, as Trey Singleton strokes the long shot.
It's pretty funny when a guy's got 13 points going into half, which is half of his average, and we say he hasn't gone bananas yet.
Okay, he's played fine.
Yep.
Well, when you know what he's capable of, sort of take that in stride. 10 to shoot. Listowski down the left side, and it's a blocking foul. A lot of contact. Good sportsmanship there, helping Josh Huffman back to his feet. Got 20 seconds left in the first half. Muskingum leads 28-27.
That was a strong take there from Listowski as he was able to go through and draw the contact. And I think some of the reason why the Jackets have struggled finishing today is they've really tried to avoid the contact and made shots tougher on themselves.
Tied it up at 28. Listowski's got 3 points. Stays that way. So the Muskies will have a chance to take the lead going into the locker room here, and they'll hand the ball to their most trusted asset, Marcus Dempsey on Shane Zalba. 8 seconds. Dempsey, pull up, just off. Pops away, Singleton, not off in time. Muskingum certainly didn't like it, but it did not count. Well, the Muskies bench was a little vocal there as they came toward their locker room. Hard to know for sure, and again, with Division III with no access to replay, no way to know for sure one way or the other. Hard to tell in real time. I thought it was pretty close.
I mean, it was a great look. It was a great effort. It's just, that's where it gets so hard, especially when you don't have the replay, because it's all about just, you know, if the ball's even just barely on your fingertips, when the buzzer goes off, it doesn't count. And that's one of those bang-bang plays. And, you know, it's one of those situations where you kind of wish you had the replay there. But regardless, Great attempt. Got to tip your hat to Singleton for that.
Tied up at 28 at halftime. The Yellow Jackets are hanging tough with the Muskies. BW 11 of 33 in the first half. Muskingum 11 of 30. Jackets 4 of 16 from behind the three-point line after they started 4 of 8. Muskingum 3 of 9 from deep. And the Muskies are killing the Yellow Jackets on the boards, out-rebounding BW 27 to 15 so far in this one. Dempsey leading scorer with 13. Luke Schaefer's got 10 on 4 of 8 shooting. No other Yellow Jacket has more than 3 points. Trey Singleton has 6, not 8, because that last one did not count. All right, we'll step aside during halftime. Come on back here shortly. It's the Jackets 28 and the Muskies 28 on BWYellowJackets.com. Welcome back to Barrio, where the Yellow Jackets and the Muskies are tied at 28 at halftime here on BWYellowJackets.com. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Cole McDaniel. It's been a fairly fun game so far. Both teams have certainly competed hard, but we haven't seen any real separation one way or the other. In fact, the largest lead in the game for either team is 3 points. So it's been a tight game all the way around. And that, by the way, that 3-point lead came for the Yellow Jackets 3 minutes into the game. Marcus Dempsey on the right-hand side. You know he's capable of getting rolling. Denied at the rim, but he's called for a foul. Tyler Colombo apparently hit him on the arm on the way down. Tyler seemed to disagree, but that was disappointing because I thought, for the most part, it looked like a good defensive play.
I agree with you. I think that's one of those unfortunate things, too, where you could get a clean block on the ball, but if when your arm comes down, catches them, you can't get hit with that call, and that's exactly what happened to Colombo there. Is it looked like he got the clean block, but didn't go straight up and came down.
Dempsey with 14 after the first free throw, and now 15 points. Marcus Dempsey, 4 of 13 shooting, 2 of 4 from behind the three-point line, and he is 5 of 7 from the charity stripe. Schaefer, Sabula, Dimitrievs, Colombo, and Quiring for BW. And Dempsey denies it out of bounds. Elsewhere around the Ohio Athletic Conference, it's halftime in Marietta. And the Marietta Pioneers lead John Carroll 50-42. Schaefer missed the jump shot. Dempsey wanted to run with it. Finds an open Tyler Bardall, who just misfired. And Luke Schaefer pulls in the miss. Also, it's halftime in Wilmington. Heidelberg leads the Quakers by 4. Finally, Matt Dimitrievs hits a three-point basket. And I say finally because the Yellow Jackets have missed a boatload since they hit 4 of their first 8. They snap a stretch of 8 straight misses from behind the three-point line with that bucket from Dimitrievs. 31-30 BW. Mitch Clark, no. Loose on the floor, and it rolls to Dempsey.
And Clark had a huge mismatch there against Quiring. I was surprised he went with the jump hook rather than, backing him down and really getting to the rim.
Oh, Dempsey put Colombo on skates, and that'll go on his highlight reel.
Yeah, an insult to injury to that is nothing but net on the make as well.
That young man is worth the price of admission. Sabula back to Colombo. Quiring turns in the key. It was a good fake. Gave himself enough room to get the layup off. 33-33, 5 for Q. Dempsey. And he was fouled. It wasn't a hard foul, but it was definitely enough to draw the whistle.
And I think the one thing with Tyler Colombo on Dempsey is you're hoping that the height is able to keep him from getting a good look at the rim. The thing is, I mentioned earlier Dempsey's ability to be fluid with his body movements and fake, and just that quickness of his cutting. Colombo can't keep up with the quickness.
Tyler's very athletic, but Dempsey just has a different gear. 35-33, that's 8 now for Trey Singleton out of Meadowbrook High School in Senecaville. No shot, foul on the floor as Schaefer was held down. Yellow Jackets have had Muskingum's number historically. Here's Quiring for 3. Just not going in today. Sabula, maybe he could solve the puzzle. Finally.
And that was all started because of that offensive board by Dimitrievs, and the Yellow Jackets have been dominated on the boards, but if they can continue to do that and get second chance points, it could really turn this second half into their game.
Going back the other way here. All time in this series, the Jackets 55 wins, Muskingum 57 wins. BW in recent history has been a little bit better. Mentioned the 2 wins last year as Dmitriev's misfires. 2 seasons ago, BW beat Muskingum 99-70 in a game played in late January, but they lost at Muskingum earlier in the season. So it's a 3-game win streak for BW in the overall series.
This is a
Dempsey,
mismatch.
It sure is. Marcus Dempsey on Drew Sova. Boy, it almost got tipped in 3 times. BW by 1. Good find. Sova finished it. Dmitriev's with a beautiful assist.
Yeah, it looked like Dmitriev's was thinking about pulling up, but then he saw Sova streaking down the lane, and that's a great find and a good finish.
Jackets lead by 3, a game high, 3 points. Mitch Clark in the corner, back up top here. MJ Smith almost turned it over. 8 to shoot when they inbound.
Sova's playing with a new energy here in the second half. That was a great denial there on the entry pass.
I agree. He kind of needed a wake-up call in the locker room because he's a lot better than what he played in that first half. Tough shot, didn't go in for Dempsey. Sova grabs the carom. Good find, Quiring to Sabula, and the Jackets miss another layup. Dempsey, step back 3. He's going to take 3 foul shots.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the danger of going up against Dempsey, is Dmitriev's was trying to deny an easy look at the basket. It's just a matter of if you get up and close into him, you still have to give him some room to land, and he did not give him room to land, and here's Dempsey getting 3 foul shots.
So Dempsey has a chance to go over the 20-point threshold. He's at 19 now, as both teams send a number of subs to the table. They'll all check in momentarily. It's 20 for Dempsey. Sova, Listowski, Snyder, Mazzio, and Zalba on the floor. It's Bardal, Josh Huffman, Marcus Dempsey, Micah Keith, and Alex Massinelli for the red and black Muskies, who tie it up on those 3 Dempsey foul shots. 38-38. Dempsey's got 21. Mazzio. Zalba. Back to the freshman. Anthony into contact. Not enough for a whistle, but good job by Anthony Mazzio. The Jackets are really getting it done as a team here.
Yeah, and that's well done by the freshman to seek out the contact. Of course, he didn't get the and one call, but the strength to go up and still make the finish.
Luke Schaefer leads the Jackets with 10 points. Nobody else has more than 5, as Dempsey was short there. But Quiring, Dmitriev, Sabula, and Sova all have 5 points. Mazzio, Listowski, and Colombo have all scored 2. Drew Sova over the front of the rim. 42-38, timeout Muskingum, and Travis Schwab is not happy with Josh Huffman.
And that was clever there from Sova, because most times you see him hand the ball off there. That time he kind of faked it, then went down with the dribble and went straight to the rim, and that's really well done there by Sova as well.
7 points for Drew. Timeout in Berea. Jackets by 4. 6 minutes played in the second half. The Jackets have a 4-point lead here at home. Coverage of today's game sponsored by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us at 440-625-0745 or order online at jimmyjohns.com. And Brendan Gulick with Cole McDaniel. Jackets trying to hang in there. It hasn't been a great game for them, but they're fighting as best they can as they give up a three at the top of the arc. The Muskies have not shot it very well so far in the second half. It's just now 3 of 9 with that make. BW's been much better than that offensively, but haven't really created a lot of separation. And it's only a 1-point game here as Listowski raises, and his three-pointer is off. Jake Snyder on the rebound, back to Mazzio. And Zalba gave it away. Massinelli on the left side. And he missed it. That continues to be a common theme for the Muskies. They still don't have any points off of BW turnovers. And we've played for 28 minutes. Jackets haven't exactly turned it over a bunch, but still, you got to be able to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd stat. You usually don't see that. You usually at least see, even if there's a couple turnovers, at least some points.
Well, some of that is a combination of, perhaps the ineffectiveness from Muskingum, but also the fact that BW is one of the top 15 teams in the country in terms of protecting the ball. Sweet play from behind there. Zalba rejects it.
Yeah, and that's just a monstrous block, as that's outstanding from Zalba to recover and get the swat in, because, when Dempsey gets to the rim, he's often going to finish that off.
Timeout Muskingum. Baldwin Wallace averages 10.7 turnovers per game. That's 14th best in the country out of more than 400 Division III basketball teams. So they don't give it away very often, but Muskingum's not really making BW pay for their few and far between mistakes. All right, timeout on the floor. The Jackets lead by 1. 12:27 left to play. Baldwin Wallace leads 42-41, Cole, but they are not performing up to their standard on the glass. The Jackets have been out-rebounded by 12. At times this year, that's been a little bit of an issue, but not to that degree. I think you can't really put that on any one particular person. It's got to be a team effort rebounding better here.
It's not necessarily because of a monstrous size advantage in favor of Muskingum either.
Jake Snyder gets the miss. Marcus Dempsey leads all scorers with 21. The Muskies still trail by a point. 42-41. Final score, Mount Union beat Ohio Northern 81-60. Purple Raiders go to 5-2. They're 2-0 in conference with a win today over Northern and a conference opening win over John Carroll on Wednesday. Ohio Northern falls to 2-3. Listowski from the corner. His three is good. Four-point lead for BW, matches their largest lead of the game. Marcus Dempsey, reach around foul on Listowski. Marietta leads John Carroll by 10 early second half, 56-46. And Wilmington has a 7-point lead on Heidelberg, 46-39. Heidelberg is stunk out of the gates in the locker room when they led by 4 at halftime. Here's Drew Sova and the foul. Good play by Sova, adjusting after originally he wanted to dunk it. And Drew was still able to put it home as Carson Carter hacked him.
That's more like it. That is a strong finish. And again, like I said, coming out of half, Drew Sova playing completely different than he did in the first half. And he's been pretty crucial for the Jackets here in the second.
Sova gets the free throw. All of a sudden, the BW lead is 7 points. When number 1 is on the floor for the men in black here, it doesn't feel like a very large lead. 11-11 on the second half clock. Snyder finds Zalba in the corner. Mazzio, and he's fouled. Well, it feels almost a little odd to contextualize it this way, but the Jackets have scored 6 unanswered points, and in a game where the margin has never really been very large, it's actually sizable. The last bucket for Muskingum came on Carson Carter's three-pointer almost 4 minutes ago at this point. Sova, you better believe it, rips it out of the air and then puts it back home. 10 points for Sova. He must have taken to heart that halftime speech. Drew was flat-footed in the first half, missing some easy ones, but boys, he played like a big man here in the second stanza. And it's a blocking foul on Listowski.
That's a great feed there by Dempsey, but looked like it was going to be an easy basket, and Listowski came over even though there was a foul. Outstaying by Listowski to recover and make sure no easy basket happened.
Clock has 10-11 on it. And the free throw is too long for Mitch Clark. Meanwhile, Luke Schaefer is going to check back into the ballgame here for Listowski.
And I think one of the best things for the Yellow Jackets was the group that's really played well here in the second half and started to create that lead has been the second group. It hasn't really been the starters on the floor. It's been the guys who came off of the bench, and they've given a new energy to this game.
Almost turned it over. And Snyder got fouled. Just the second foul on Marcus Dempsey. Inbound comes to Schaefer. Snyder, step back. He's shown a willingness now twice to take that shot, but both of them have gone up firm and fast and flat. Now Dempsey on Schaefer. Pull up from just beyond the right elbow. Good bucket by Trey Singleton. Give him 10 points. Averaging about 13 a game. Singleton's hit some good jump shots.
Yeah, just because Dempsey's the main scorer doesn't mean Singleton can be taken lightly, as we've seen him hit a lot of rhythm jumpers.
Luke Schaefer for 3. The Yellow Jacket lead is 10. It was 42-41. Now the Jackets lead 53-43. Drew Sova fouls MJ Smith. Ty Colombo will take his spot on the floor, but a round of applause for Drew Sova.
that's a very deserving applause as well.
Dempsey made the mistake. All right, back to BW. Hard to explain that one.
That's surprising because normally you'll just see a guy go in the backcourt, give plenty of room to inbound it, but I think completely forgot where the line was.
Ty Colombo from Shane Zalba. Timeout Muskingum. The Yellow Jackets are on quite a run here. 13-2, and they lead it by 12. 55-43 with 8.5 minutes to play. Baldwin Wallace has shot the lights out here in the second half, 11 of 19 from the floor. And they've limited Muskingum to 4 of 14 from the floor. BW has now forced 13 Muskie turnovers compared to 3 Muskingum assists. That's a terrible ratio. Can't have that. It's part of the reason why Jackets are plus 12 on the scoreboard here. Back to BW. Yeah, in case you didn't hear that, 3 assists, 13 turnovers for Muskingum. The Yellow Jackets have 16 assists and 5 turnovers. 16 assists on 22 buckets.
Yeah, and it's hard for a team to win when they're being out-rebounded like the Yellow Jackets have been. But, you know, in hindsight, looking at the Muskingum side, it's hard when you been more than doubled up on your turnovers.
What have you seen about the way this game has just totally changed from when the Jackets had a 1-point lead to now where they lead by 14?
You know, honestly, I think one thing is kind of just looks like Muskingum's gotten a little sluggish defensively, and they're not switching around like they had been. They're letting the Jackets get to the rim much easier, and it's changed the game.
Good turnaround bucket for Mitch Clark. First basket for him here this afternoon. 7:25 as Luke Schaefer opens from way downtown. Luke Schaefer stroking it. Give him 16. Schaefer's having a really nice season so far, and he's closing in perhaps on a career-high 19 points. He had 18 on Wednesday. He's had 15 in 3 different games this year, and now has 16 this afternoon.
Well, the big thing is with Muskingum not getting up in the Yellow Jackets' faces as much as they did early in this half or even in the first half, it's giving guys like Schaefer the ability to have comfortable just spot-up shots, and that's exactly what we've seen is in rhythm. Schaefer's been hitting them.
That's from another zip code.
Absolutely.
60-46. That free throw rebounded awkwardly out towards Sabula. It was 42-41 BW when Carson Carter hit a three ball at the 13:51 mark. Here we are 7 minutes later, and the Jackets put their throat on the Muskie, I should say put their foots on the Muskie throats BW ball. So in that 7-minute and 7-second stretch, the Jackets have outscored Muskingum 18-5. Dimitrievs grazing the Raptors on the way to the basket. I don't think the Raptors hit it. Just missed, though.
Well, and on the stretch, the guy who just recently had the ball in his hand, Dempsey, he's gone pretty quiet as well.
Dempsey's been stuck on 21 since he hit those 3 foul shots a little bit back. Carson Carter for 2. Travis Schwab standing in front of his bench with his arms folded over his chest and now in the thinking man's pose. Sabule up. Schaefer. Goodness gracious. Luke Schaefer. It's a career-high 19 points. And he hit it from about 7 feet behind the three-point line.
Yeah, another one that he shot from downtown Cleveland and able to knock it in. As you said, different zip code. Schaefer in another zone.
Dempsey feeds Clark. But when you're trading 2s for 3s, you're not going to close the gap. 63-50.
And you also predicted a couple minutes ago, there's Schaefer with his high.
Well, he was certainly in the area. Dimitrievs. Wow, that's a really nice athletic play. And Matt Dimitrievs has 7, 65-50. 5:05 left in regulation. Marcus Dempsey was the Great Lakes Region Rookie of the Year a few years back. So he put his shoulder into Quiring's chin there and backpedaled for a bucket. Dempsey, first team All-Conference 2 years ago. He was a third-team academic All-American a couple years ago as Schaefer misses the 3. But again, last year only played 6 games because he missed almost the entire season with an injury. He has looked pretty good so far at the beginning of 2019. Dempsey, though, called for a foul here. Offensive.
You know, and going back to his step back he had just a moment ago, and he's not a lefty, he's a right-handed shooter, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of that James Harden step back where he'll just nudge him, get his body in just barely, and then with the step back. So that's where he's very effective when he's trying to knock down his 3s.
Timeout on the floor. The Jackets call it. 65-53 BW with 4:30 left in regulation. Well, the Jackets have separated themselves from Muskingum here a little bit. 65-53 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in regulation. BW has played a much better second half and trying to come up with a second consecutive win after dropping their conference opener by 10 points to a very good Marietta team. Speaking of Marietta, they've got an 8-point lead on John Carroll, 64-56, and they're a little behind us. Still got 13 minutes left in their game. Colombo from around the arc, down the left lane, extends the arm and lays it in.
Well, you just mentioned some separation now forming in this game. Talk about down at Muskingum. The women right now with big separation, 65-28.
Holy cow.
Been some great defense there.
65-28. Goodness gracious. From the corner, Singleton, in and out. Well, Coach Sherry Harrer's team will be back home soon. Looking forward to seeing them again. They've got a real chance, if they stay healthy, to win the OAC this year. Schaefer from just in front of the free throw line, and his career day continues. It's a career-high 21 for Luke Schaefer, a junior guard out of Medina. He's had a couple of long threes this half. Just over 3 minutes to play. The Jackets by 16, taking some of the drama out of this one. Muskies still have time to make a push, and they've got the guy to do it in Marcus Dempsey, who gets fouled.
No, and one thing to credit the Yellow Jackets, sure, Dempsey's drawn a lot of fouls, but I think them just getting their bodies up in him and really making it hard for him, it's how to wear down a really good scorer as well, and I think it's made it tough on Dempsey today.
Yeah, well, the Jackets have shot 61% in the second half. So regardless of how they defend Dempsey, you're right, you've got to find a way to stop him. But you shoot 61%, you're going to, more often than not, find yourself in a pretty good spot.
Reminds you a bit of their first half against Heidelberg the other night.
Sure does. Acquiring Schaefer, and the foul. Jackets were just a little bit quicker than the Muskie defense there. And Luke has a chance to go for 24.
And although Schaefer's more of a guard that plays undersized at the 4, that was a great move down the low block.
This will probably be Luke's last play of the game, I would think, as he hits the free throw, and now he checks out. Shane Zalba takes his spot. Luke Schaefer, a career-high 24 points as he checks out of the game. The Jacket lead is 19 with 2:50 to go. Dempsey, no go on the 3. Alex Massinelli trying to keep it alive here. Spinning around, losing control, gathered in, and Dimitriev's is called for a foul. I don't know if I love that call. First one up and good for Massinelli. Well, I referenced the rebounding totals and how they were decidedly in Muskingum's favor. As the game's gone along here, the Jackets have cut into that deficit a little bit, so it's not quite as gaudy. They're -7 on the glass. And just as quickly, look who comes back in the game.
Well, and the main reason it's changed is because of the offensive boards the Yellow Jackets have had and getting those second chance points.
Muskingum has 12 offensive rebounds of their own. It's been rather frustrating. 2:20 to go. The Jackets lead it by 17. Ty Colombo, no. Dempsey. That's a blocking foul. Boy, I thought Dempsey full-on extended the forearm there. I'm not going to disagree that Quiring wasn't set.
It was very reminiscent of the foul he had in the first half where Dempsey came in, he dropped his shoulder into the chest of the BW defender and got hit with the offensive call.
Tom Heil calls a full timeout. 72-55 Baldwin Wallace with 2:11 to play on BWYellowJackets.com. Baldwin Wallace by 17 points over the Fighting Muskies from Muskingum University. The Jackets try to win their 4th consecutive game over the last couple of seasons now over these Muskies. But it's not the best game in the conference today. That one's down in Southern Ohio. Marietta had a 64-49 lead on John Carroll. And the Blue Streaks have come roaring back. It's now 66-64 Marietta by 2. There's just under 12 minutes left in regulation of that game. So we'll keep our eye on the Pioneers and the Blue Streaks.
Not only is it always great basketball down there, but it's such a great environment and just an enclosed gym and everybody shows up.
Got a humongous video board. They do their game day presentation quite well. Marietta basketball, you're right, they've had a good team, but anybody who has any sort of passion for the game can be impressed with what they do. It's really cool. Colombo gets fouled here. There's only 2 minutes to go in our game. So Colombo on the 3rd foul from Mitch Clark. Colombo goes to the free throw line. Jackets and Muskies will play each other again February 1st. It'll be a Saturday afternoon affair down in New Concord. I'd say probably the hardest point of BW's schedule is actually toward the end of the season. They're going to play, starting with that Muskingum game, 5 out of 6 on the road, including 4 in a row in the month of February, leading up to the regular season finale at home against Otterbein. Up and under move, Singleton, good try. Colombo on the miss. Jackets play Wilmington, John Carroll, Capital, and Mount Union. All 4 games in a row on the road. As Schaefer just can't miss. He's got 27 now. And it's 77-57. Boy, this is just not indicative of how good a game this was in the first half. Dempsey for 3. And he's got 29 as Travis Schwab calls timeout.
And Dempsey couldn't let Schaefer be the leading scorer in the whole game as he had to come back and respond.
How about that? Just about half of their 60 points. It's pretty typical as the Muskies try to avoid losing 3 of their last 4 after winning the opener over Kenyon.
You know, Tyler Colombo, he hit those 2 free throws, and I think it is safe to point out the Jackets are 6 of 8 at 75% from the free throw line today, and hopefully that's a sign that the confidence is changing and maybe tides are turning from the poor free throw shooting they had earlier in the year.
Well, they don't have the putting yips anymore. 127 left in the second half. 77-60, the Jackets out front. Who's impressed you more today than maybe you expected at the beginning of the game?
You know, I think one thing is, I think most people would come in and say that they wouldn't expect Luke Schaefer to have 27 points. But the guy who really impressed me, especially with how he started in the first half, was Drew Sova in the second half. Defensively, he was playing strong. He was a main guy, too, in bringing this rebound margin back. And he was able to finish strong around the rim as well in the second half, which he didn't do in the first. And so I think that he really impressed me in the second half compared to how he came out in the first.
Coverage of today's game brought to you by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. And by the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division, the official healthcare provider for BW Athletics. Luke Schaefer running the baseline here. 1:27 to play. Jackets by 17. Sabula gets it from Dimitrievs. Zach running up the floor, decides to go himself. You got it. Plus the foul. 79-60.
When you've got a team that plays with 4 guards traditionally on the floor and also then an athletic Tyler Colombo, it's pretty hard to stop them on a full court press. And you saw it there as Sabula got the ball and he just took off.
Well, the Jackets are starting to make some changes here. Schaefer out. Listowski's in. Let's see, Quiring's out, Colombo's out. So it's Zalba, Dimitrievs, Snyder, Listowski, and Sabula. 5 guards for Tom Heil's team. And don't look now, but John Carroll, again, was down 64-49 Now they lead Marietta 73-71. You know, it is so hard to go 18-0 in the OAC. It's so unbelievably hard. The best teams in the league almost always lose once or twice. Last year we had a three-way tie at the top of the league for regular season champions, and they all lost 4 times.
Yeah, and the thing is, obviously, your higher profile games where, you know, I think everybody coming into this year was like, okay, the Mount Union Marietta game, that's going to be the game to watch. But still, there are teams that can surprise you. And, you know, when you're at the top like a team like Marietta is, there are teams that will show up in the OAC. They'll play you tough on any given night, and they could give you a run for your money.
Well, John Carroll's had to change their philosophy a little bit from the way they have historically played. They've always been the hockey-style 5-in, 5-out subbing rotations. They don't have that kind of depth right now, but they're winning without it. John Carroll will come to this side of town on January 22nd. And the Yellow Jackets will go to University Heights on February 12th. Only 1:07 left in our game. And ever since the Jackets had a 42-41 lead with 13 minutes and 51 seconds on the clock, it has gone decidedly poor for the Fighting Muskies. It's kind of amazing how BW is racking up points here in the second half. The Jackets had 28 points at halftime. And with that free throw, they have 53 in the second half. Couple of subs here. Troy Massa is coming on. Samson Albert checking into the game. Logan Newman is in. Quentin Farron comes on. Jake Elbin takes off his top, and he'll wait at the scores table for Snyder here at the free throw line. The Jackets going to find their way into the win column today. Lead by 19 with a minute to go. Meanwhile, for the Muskies, Kayvon Swoop is on the floor, and he grabbed that miss. Here's Logan Wolverton. Tanner Gensler is in the game. Right side, Wolverton. They've also got Noah Begg on the floor. And underneath, the foul whistled as Josh Huffman turned around and missed the layup. Well, the Yellow Jackets with 3 conference games here in late November, early December. And then they go back to the non-league schedule for the next 3. They've got a very good Trine team coming up in 11 days. A little bit of a layoff here. That'll be the last game before Christmas, then a holiday tournament out in Western Ohio. They'll play Albion from Michigan, and they'll play the Bluffton Beavers before being OAC-driven in conference here the rest of the way. Jake Elbin bricks the 3. Quentin Farron on the rebound. Comes back up to Samson Albert. He's just a freshman point guard, but we've seen some pretty impressive handles from him. It's hard for him to get on the floor right now with Quiring, but he has really got a chance to be a good player if he sticks around and stays with it through his Yellow Jacket career. Newman, with his shot clock expiring, bricks the 3. And the shot clock's off here, final 8 seconds. Wolverton from the corner, driving. He did not score. And the final horn sounds as Baldwin Wallace comes away with an 81-63 victory. What a second half offensively for the Jackets.
Yeah, absolutely. That second half was completely different from the first. And, you know, it looked like going into halftime, there was a good chance Muskingum was going to be able to take this game, especially with dominating on the boards. But really in every aspect, the Yellow Jackets were able to control the second half, and a well-deserved win.
Jackets in the first half were 11 of 33 from the floor. They were 20 of 33 from the floor in the second half. They shot it much better, 53 points in the last 20 minutes as the Yellow Jackets come away 81-63. So the Jackets go to 4-3 on the year, 2-1 in conference play. And the Muskies are now 2-3, and they dropped their first OAC contest of the regular season. Our next broadcast coming up December the 18th when Trine comes to town for a 7 o'clock tip. We'll have it for you live here on BWYellowJackets.com. For Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon, and we'll see you next time. The Jackets a winner here at home, 81-63.